I'm next happy to introduce Florina and Jai, who are alumni from the Fall 2018 YSEALI Academic Fellowship. Florina is from Malaysia. She works on environmental research focusing on oil palm expansion impacts at her home state of Sarawak by using satellite data. She currently develops environmental satellite algorithms for the Sarawak Multimedia Authority while completing her master's degree in environmental remote sensing. Jai is from the Philippines. He currently works as a communication development officer and youth desk coordinator under the Philippine Government Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Go ahead.
Thank you, Heidi. So first of all, good evening from the Philippines and from Southeast Asia, and good morning to the other parts of the world. So for the second part of this youth-led environmental initiative cross-country collaborative design webinar, my partner and I, Florina, will present the project that we've developed back in Montana during our fellowship. So I am Jai Villapa, a YSEALI alumni from the Philippines. Together with me is Miss Florina Richard from Malaysia. So our project is called Spark Plug. This is an interactive activity that offers a fun way to lessen plastic pollution and also to exercise. This project was inspired by a trend that started in Sweden. It's called plugging. Plugging is a combination of English-Swedish word, jogging, and pluck up, which collectively means to jog or to walk while picking up trash. So before we dig into the project details, I'll introduce you first to my teammates during the fellowship. So next slide, please. So my team comprises of 5 members. So I'll start from the left. Pim from Laos, Sue from Myanmar, me, I'm in the middle. Next to me is Florina from Malaysia, and Mimi from Vietnam. I guess some of them are here in the webinar. So next slide, please. So in our group, we have very distinct interests when it comes to environmental issues. And some of us are working on wildlife conservation, protection of peatlands, responsible mining laws and policies, and river preservation. At first, we really don't have the commonalities regarding what kind of project we want to pursue. But later on, through the continuous meetings and talks, we're able to agree what pressing issue from our home countries we want to solve. And it emerged that solid waste management is one of the most urgent problems that needed to be addressed. So while we're thinking of what we need to develop, what we made sure is it needs to be interactive in order for us to encourage the youth to join us in our cause, and also it needs to be fun. So that's where the plugging idea came in. So back in 2018, plugging is not yet really a thing in Southeast Asia. It's just practiced in Europe and in America. So next slide, please. So the initial idea is to conduct a simultaneous plugging event across Southeast Asia. So we've selected just cities or particular cities from our home countries, such as Yangon in Myanmar, Kuching in Malaysia, Vientiane in Laos, Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam, and Puerto Princesa in the Philippines. So back in the time that we're planning the idea, we're really ambitious in saying that this project needs to be groundbreaking, something big, etc. But then we would like to thank our mentors, Dr. Nikki, Heidi, and Logan, for making us realize that what we really need to focus on is the people or the community that we need to organize. We also need to consider factors such as the logistics, the time, and other nitty-gritty of the project. So from that big idea, we've initially trimmed down the idea and selected Vientiane only to be the pilot city to implement the project. But we're really eager to do the project, and we even applied for small grants under the Mansfield Center, and other funding organizations in our home countries. And luckily, we were able to win the grants from those organizations and also from the Mansfield Center. However, after the fellowship, we went back to our jobs. Others went back to their university lives. We were quite overwhelmed on how to run the project, but we still decided to run it. So next slide, please. Next. So Sparkplug resulted into two different projects from the two different countries. So it's like the Sparkplug idea that we've developed in Montana just became an umbrella project of two events. So first is the Fitter to Litter, the project that I've conducted here in the Philippines. And the other one is Plastic in Society that was implemented in Malaysia by one of the speakers, Florina. So next slide, please. I was able to run the Fitter to Litter project here in my province, in Palawan, during the YSEALI 2018 Unified event. So if you're not really familiar with the Unified is an annual community service initiative that initiated or that celebrates YSEALI anniversary every month of December. This is where all the alumni of the program in Southeast Asia initiate projects and community service. So in my place or in this province, Palawan, I conducted the event, Palawan. I believe some of you heard the place. It is known for its beautiful sceneries, beaches, and long shorelines. So the primary goal of the project that I've initiated is to protect the primary source of income here in the province, which is tourism. And alongside with tourism is plastic pollution that comes from the activities of tourism. And that's the primary concern of the project, to protect the beauty of the island. That's why I picked this area to be the pilot site here in the Philippines to somehow help or eradicate the plastic pollution problem in the Philippines or in this province. So as mentioned earlier by Heidi, I'm currently working in the Philippine Government Department of Environment and Natural Resources. And I have been mainly involved in fieldwork, community engagement, and organizing environmental events across the country. So coming from the YSEALI Fellowship with so much passion, I pitched this Sparkplug idea to our YSEALI coordinator here in the Philippines. And I also partnered with our local government unit, and they gave me the funding to implement the project, and I'm really thankful for that. And also the local government that I partnered with, they helped me to mobilize participants for this event. So next slide, please. Yeah. So here are some of the photos from the event. The Fitter to Litter project is a one-day activity. The morning session was really allotted for the plugging event, the jogging or walking with picking up trash event. We gathered 100 kilos of trash, and we mobilized about 113 participants, mostly youth. That comes from the municipality where I picked. So next slide, please. For the impacts first, like what I've mentioned from the previous slides, we've had 113 participants, and we've gathered a total of 100 kilos, roughly 100 kilos of gathered trash. So next slide, please. In the afternoon of that event, I've conducted an eco-bricking workshop highlighting how we can reuse or recycle what we've gathered from the morning event. So I was able to impart some of the solid waste management tips, the laws and regulations here in the country about the solid waste or the trash or garbage, and on how to curb the use of single-use plastic to student leaders who attended the workshop, the afternoon workshop. As to the other impacts of the project, it raised awareness on the ill effects of plastic, especially the single-use plastic, and the ways to cut down its usage. According to one of the participants, they projected, according to their experience, plugging is a run or exercise with a purpose. And what they really like about the activity is that it is interactive and they gave us a chance to connect with nature and help to restore it. And what they really inculcated for them during the workshop is the whole project emphasizes that no small act is ever wasted, and no small act is too little to help the environment. Next slide, please. So for the lessons learned, this will be my last slide. This includes the pre, during, and the post lessons learned during the implementation of the project. First, don't overcomplicate impact and methods. Simplicity achieves success. I've learned that simple approach is usually the most effective. The idea that we've implemented plugging is just a, a simple act. Picking up trash here and there may seem a little act, or it's not enough to really make an impact, but these small efforts can really add up to tackle massive problems like the solid waste management. And we don't really need to complicate matters just to impress others with the complexity of the methods that we're gonna use. Second is we need to ask for help. During the implementation of my project, I really need to be thick-skinned in order to get things done. To talk with my partner government unit, the following up of funding from the US Embassy, talking to officials, and coordinating with volunteers. And lastly, um, we need to have fun. Like the blogging activity itself. We really need to get to know people, make new friends, be joyful in what we do, and continue to do things that make us feel alive. So that's for my part. Now I'll give the floor to my partner Florina to discuss her project. Was held in Malaysia, the Plastic and Society. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Jai. So now I'll talk about my project. So my project was conducted in a small fishing village in Malaysian Borneo in Sarawak. So the reason why I chose this place was because we work on a lot of research in this particular area. And that's because this particular village it has high carbon sink capacity. In fact, it's one of the world's biggest carbon sink system in the world. And but the one thing that we realize is that plastic pollution is a major issue in the village. So I thought, okay, this is a problem that I want to tackle. So next slide, please. Yeah, so when I saw that this was a problem, and so I applied for the YSEALI small grant, which I got it, and also got the Newton Fund from British Council. So when I got those fundings, I proceed to thinking about in further into details about what I really want to convey in through this project. So because this particular village, it has no proper internet connection, and there are many old people who actually live there, they are not so aware of the plastic pollution that is happening in their village. So I focus a lot on the basic science, on you know, what are the effects of plastic pollution, with specific emphasis on what are the detrimental effects of plastic pollution to their health and also to the economy as fishermen, because they reported to us that the number of fishes that they caught each year is declining. So really, my project really want to convey all of these messages. And then towards the end of the project, I am to invite them to come to suggest feasible and localized solutions is something that they can do in the village. So when I have all of these things, I recruited volunteers from two major universities in the state. One is UNIMAS, another one is Swinburne. And so people sign up for the program. And as of how I invited the villagers to come forward and join the program, I actually contacted the small local library in the area to convey all of these things, all of the program, to tell the villagers to come and join us in the library during the program. So yeah, next slide, please. Okay, so so besides doing all of these things, like the awareness program, we also try to, as much as possible, practice what we preach. So because they weren't so aware of what are the options available like out there besides the conventional plastic products that they have, we also introduced to them biodegradable and reusable items, like for example, the lunch boxes, the cutleries, and the cups. And as much as possible, we try to minimize food wastage and also paper wastage during the program. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, so after the program, we distributed a simple survey forms to all of them. And the majority of them said that they understood the content, but all of the contents that we were trying to convey. And because no such program were ever conducted in the village before, they found it very useful to understand what is happening. And in that sense, we created awareness in the village. And because they know that this is happening and these are the impacts, they, according to them, they wanted to do something to be more involved in protecting the environment in their village. So I think this is very, very important, because the last impact is very important, because oftentimes we want to do something very groundbreaking. We want to do something so great, but sometimes all it takes for us is to create that spark, really, for something to start. And yeah, next slide. So these are the lessons that I've learned while running the project. So first of all, when I were running the project, I really thought that I don't want all of the volunteers and everyone that I work with, they feel like they're working with me, but really they are working, they have fun and also working for the cause of the project, for the purpose of the project. Because I think if they really work for the cause of the project, it will go a long way. So the challenge was, how do I communicate everything to them in such a way that they will be thinking that we are working as a team? So that was a real challenge for me, but I've learned to improve that communication skill. And the next thing was the conflict resolution. So before I started the project, I went through a lot of hassle dealing with government agencies. They didn't reply me. They were not really supportive, and but I've learned to really sometimes just have to be like, develop that thick skin and actually really do what you have to do and really contact them and be a bit shameless to get the ball rolling, to get the project going. And the third lesson that I've learned is that as a scientist, as a researcher, we focus a lot on producing data. We focus a lot on trying to understand what's happening in the environment. But we forgot that the real people who are actually making impact are the communities. They are the ones that are going to take action. So when I finished this project, I realized that we don't necessarily have to completely focus on generating data or like understanding what's happening and through research, but really it's how do we convey all of these things that we know as scientists to the people that are really going to take actions, like for example people in the Maludam village. And the last thing for me was to overcome fear, because I have never experienced running such project before, honestly. It was very scary for me. It was very daunting for me to start something like this, because thinking about all the little details, but sometimes we just have to take the leap of faith and really try to just go for it and really ask for help. And in this case, although we did not run the project that we initially implemented, but my friends from YSEALI, the Spark Plot group from all the 5 countries, Jai, Sue, Mimi, and Pim, I think they're here. They were really helpful. I just have to ask for their opinion, and they were very, very, very supportive, which I'm very grateful for. So yeah, that friendship goes a long way. Yeah, next slide. Oh yeah, this is last slide. Oh wait, oh yeah, that's the last slide. Okay, so basically to sum up Jai and I's presentation, we thought of, when we wanted to do something for our community, we want to do something very impactful for the society. We think of something really, really huge, but really all it takes for us is to just try to focus on one small thing, and that one small thing can go a long way, because we believe that if we do things at our own capacity, things that we're capable of doing, say for example, we work with small community, if each and every one of us as young leaders collectively overcome our fears and actually start working something with our community, collectively we can really create this massive impact in our respective countries. So I guess that's it from Jai and I. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jai and Florina, for sharing these insights into another set of impactful and inspiring projects. It's really great to hear about some of the realities and challenges you faced and how you confronted them to ultimately develop 2 really excellent examples of community engagement and mobilizing volunteers and raising awareness, providing education, and continuing to work with your group through the process.